The iconic villains from Gears of War, the Locust Horde. Subterranean in nature, their physiology varied amongst their several races, and so, the Locust armor came in all different shapes and sizes. Their armor sets generally covered less than that of the COG. This was due to the Locust having tough, durable hides. So as always, I'm your host Abz, and here is the unique Locust armor in Gears of War lore. The foot soldiers of the Locust Horde were of course the Locust Drones, and they equipped the standard drone armor, and these are the most common and identifiable armor sets of the Horde. These armor pieces are made primarily out of tough leather pieces, which came from the hides of the denizens of the Hollow, and the sets are often customized, depending on the type of drone and his specialization. For example, the Cyclops drones would wear heavily armored and segmented shoulder pad. The spotters would also wear large, heavily armoured shoulder pads, and so on. Some Locust, for example the Locust Grenadiers, wear little to no armour, as their skin is very thick, and they go into battle shirtless, although some of them do wear shoulder armour. Now the drones would wear a huge number of different types and designs of Locust helmets, depending on their specialisation. The snipers may equip a helmet and goggles, although most of them just wear the goggles. The Cyclops have a light for one part of their helmet, which gives them the Cyclops name. The Beast Riders, Bolters and other drone variations have their signature helmets as well, but all of these helmet variants seem to offer similar protection to COG gear helmets. And all of the Locust soldiers have lower body armor to protect the area below their waistline from serious injury or to avoid being shot. And all drone armor is sleeveless, as the natural hide of a Locust's thick skin is more than enough to resist small arms fire and bayonets. And these sets have reddish highlights compared to the blue highlights found on COG armor. The big boys of the Locust Horde, the iconic, muscular but fat, heavy weapon specialists known as the Boomers. They also had their own armor sets. Of course, the Boomers are a lot bigger and taller than the drones, so their armor sets are meant only for them. Their variants are made primarily of thick metal plates, where the chest piece is connected via two elongated circles, similar to the look of the COG's trooper armor. This could perhaps suggest that the Locust got the designs from the COG during the Pendulum Wars. But what's interesting is the fact that their belly was exposed, but this was irrelevant, as the Boomers' fat and thick hide meant that this part of their bodies didn't require armor. Now all of the Boomer variants wore the same armor, owing to its versatility and protection, but with just some slight iterations. For instance, the Savage Boomer had a protected neck guard and an ammo belt to protect himself from a weapon malfunction of his diggers. The Tremor had a stripped down variant of the armor. The Flame Boomer had an emulsion fuel tank attached to the back. The Butcher had an apron overlay over his armor, and the Grinders and the Maulers had their signature helmets. The Locust Elite, the Theron Guards, also had their own unique and iconic armor variants, designed for the most experienced members of the Locust Horde. The iconic look of their armor comes from their distinctive armored collar, which signified the presence of a Theron. This proved to be a good psychological weapon, as their presence was known to strike unease in even the most experienced gears. The Theron's armor was covered almost in head to toe, with only the biceps left exposed. This reminds me of the COG's Elite, the Onyx Guard, and how their armor pretty much protected their whole bodies, offering superior protection compared to their inferiors. Theron armor also have the leather skirt tassels, but these are optional. But these armor sets as a whole had some variations as well. Locust General Rahm was known to wear Theron armor, but his was tailored to his massive size, as he was a mighty 10 feet tall. The Theron Elite equipped Onyx Black armor. The Savage Theron Guards had repainted their armor bone white, and the Cleaver Therons avoided wearing the leather tassels as it would interfere with their weapon of choice, which was the Butcher Cleaver. The Theron also had unique helmets, depending on their rank within the Theron. For instance, Theron Sentinels were Theron Guards that led small packs of Therons, and they had a unique visorless helmet compared to the traditional Therons. However, the counterpart to the Theron Guard had their own distinctive armor set. Of course, we are talking about the Palace Guards. This impressive armor set was given to the most decorated and accomplished drones of the Horde that had been given the honor of defending their queen. These set pieces are decorated in gold and black, and were crafted from high quality materials, which had superior protection compared to any other armor set. except for the spiked armor for the armored Kantus, which we'll get to in a moment. The shoulder pads were large and elongated, providing excellent protection from potential headshots. The leggings of the royal armor are fully covered, while even the skirt tassels have been plated in gold. Royal armor was incredibly expensive to produce, given the high quality of materials and craftsmanship, with only the most esteemed drone being given the privilege to wear one. The Kantus priests of the Locust Horde were seen to equip an armored vest. This could be due to the fact that Kantus are usually seen in the back line, healing and buffing the nearby Locust Drones, hence why they tend to be more out of harm's way. The armor has a large and reinforced leather collar, which is connected by a metal belt, and the chest area contains 2 iron rings. The Kantus also equip large leather straps or capes, perhaps for cultural purposes, and they would tend to go bare feet, not equipping thick boots like the drones or boomers. On the other hand, the deadly armoured Kantus had an exclusive metallic armour system. That armour is so durable that it could function as a weapon in itself. This is due to the razor sharp chainmail, which would erect almost instinctively when an armoured Kantus prepared to roll. The leg guards were bladed as well, therefore this armour was devastating, being able to crush and rip apart anyone caught in the firing line. The armoured Kantus were also impervious to small arms fire thanks to the armour, capable of deflecting bullets, so only heavy weapons could do severe damage to the armour. Now of course these armour sets were very rare, therefore the armoured Kantus were very rare, which tells us that these armour variants could only be crafted in small quantities due to the expensive materials required. Now after the flooding of the hollows at the end of Gears of War 2, the locusts that had become scattered away from their queen became known as the Savage Locust, and they were forced to scavenge whatever armor pieces and leftovers they could find to form Scavenged Armor. This is actually similar to the COG's custom armor, where the Scavenged Armor is a mixture of whatever materials the Savage Locust could get their hands on. But the most common design with the Savage Locust was the introduction of a rebreather that allowed the Locust to breathe comfortably in the harsh environments of the Deadlands. Additionally, all of the members of the Locust Council had their own armor, individually made for them. Srark's armor was tailored to his monstrous physiology, coming in at 12 feet tall. The High Priest Keat of Roll had a more distinctive Kantus armor set, and the Locust geneticist Ukon, his armor set was very unique as well. I would assume he would have crafted it himself, and perhaps would have been behind the technology used, behind the craftsmanship, to create all these unique armor sets for the Locust Horde. So that, my friends, is the unique Locust armor in Gears of War lore. Drop a like if you enjoyed this lore video, subscribe for more similar content like this, and I'll leave a link at the top right of the screen if you want to watch my other lore videos as well. I'm your host Abz, and as always, I will catch you guys next time.